Hi everyone, I Leena welcome you all on GenX Parenting. We are once again here with a new topic and a new expert. But this video, I'm going to begin with an experiment. Are you ready for that? Let's get started. And now imagine an early morning rush hour situation when you're cooking breakfast and your child asks you for help. How your response would be?
Mama,
Huh?
where is my maths notebook?
It must be in a cupboard.
It's not there.
Look for it, na baba. And now let's see your response when the similar question is asked to you when you're checking out your mobile phone for an update on Ranveer and Alia's baby.
Mama, when my EVS book?
When
my EVS book?
What?
When my EVS book?
This drastic change in the behavior is not possible without a change in the mental makeup. And hence, in this video, we are going to talk about how cyber world is creating an impact or changing psychology of children. To help us with the right information, we have with us Dr. Kruti Trivedi Abhyankar. She is a National Security Data or NSD certified Cybercrime Intervention Officer. She is a certified coach for emotional intelligence in children, and she is a consulting homeopath. Let's welcome our guest and get going with the video. Hello, Dr. Kruti. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on this platform.
So let's start with our first question. So how is cyber world changing the psychology of children?
The way technology is changing, it is also impacting the way we think and even the way our children think. So when we say how it is affecting children or their psychology, it definitely affects their physical health also and mental health also. There is something called as online disinhibition effect, where we really act differently in real life and in our virtual life or online. So when children also go online, they tend to act differently from their real self. So what happens is sometimes they can face some conflicts when it comes to their real life and virtual life. So for example, when they go on social media, they tend to show something which they are not, or something who they want to be, okay, or what they want to show. So it may happen that in real life, when we are interacting with someone and we have to interact face to face, we might face some inhibitions when we have to connect or when we have to portray some emotions. But when we are online, it becomes all the more easy, because when we are interacting with someone, the person we cannot see and the person can also not see us. When we are anonymous, we tend to behave very differently. So same way, even children nowadays can make fake profiles, and they also make their profiles very differently when they are playing games on social media and other platforms. You must have seen that, on video games also, while playing video games, they create such avatars and profiles who are completely different from their own personality. And then because of this, they tend to live their fantasy life through video games. These are the effects which in long term can affect children. Okay. So we talked about online disinhibition effect and anonymity. There are also other problems which social media is creating, especially for girls, because social media addiction is mainly seen in girls more than boys. There is something called as body dysmorphic disorder, which is a psychological disorder where a person is completely obsessed or compulsive about their appearance. So I might not be satisfied with the way I appear. I might be obsessed with some body part of me. So for example, if my nose is not straight, I will constantly be, seeing in the mirror, and I'll constantly be thinking about how to straighten my nose. And okay, in my selfie, my nose is not looking straight. And I'm so obsessed with that one body part that it starts affecting me psychologically. And then because of that, it becomes a kind of OCD, and then you are depressed, you are anxious, because you constantly think about that, how am I looking, how am I looking, how am I looking, and you are never satisfied with your appearance. This is happening more. And a recent study has also published that, after the invention of selfie and social media, plastic surgeries have gone up. So this is a very important study where they showed that even younger females, especially teenagers, are undergoing knife a lot, because they are just not satisfied the way they look, and they constantly apply filters. So when you see in the mirror that you don't look like your filtered self, so then again you tend to go in depression, and you tend to feel anxious about how you look. So this whole idea of being perfect online is putting a lot of pressure on teenagers. Another thing is, especially video games. If you see, most video games are violent. Okay, there are informative video games also, but video games which are very popular, like PUBG, they are always violent. They have to, like, on the go, they shoot people, and there are some video games which are so dangerous, they have murder simulators. So you actually have to murder people in the video game. There is something called as GTA, Grand Theft Auto. Because of that, some teenagers have actually gone on the road and killed people. Okay, so all these things are there. It not only affects their psyche in a way that they become violent and aggressive, but what happens is they don't understand the difference between virtual reality and reality. And then what happens is, gradually, whatever they are playing in virtual world, it starts affecting their real world. They start to lose the differentiation between virtual world and real world. If you just Google search about violent incidences related to video games, you can easily find number of articles where teenagers have actually mimicked what they used to do in video games into real life. So when they are addicted, it works very differently. So digital addiction is a type of behavioral addiction. Behavioral addictions are little different from substance addictions because there are no substances involved. Okay, so behavioral addiction, what happens is you are completely preoccupied with that particular behavior. So either continuously surfing internet, or using social media, scrolling through social media, or playing video games, or online shopping for that matter, and online gambling also. Simple emails can also be addictive. So there is also email addiction, where you are constantly checking your emails. So there is preoccupation with thought of just engaging in that behavior. Whenever you are not doing that behavior, or whenever you are not engaging in that behavior, you tend to think about that behavior again and again. So as soon as you get free, you want to go back to that behavior. Then there is lying and hiding with family members, spouses, where they ask you, Acha, are you using mobile? And you are like, no, I was not using my mobile, I was just like doing some other stuff. So when you know that your family members and spouse have started complaining about your usage, but you still hide and lie, then there are withdrawal symptoms. Even in children, we have seen that whenever we have pulled mobile from their hands, even a 2-year-old and 3-year-old child, what they do is they throw tantrums, they become so angry, they are into rage. So all these things can happen. Just the way it happens in substance addiction, it can happen in behavioral addiction. Okay, so and there is something also called as tolerance, where just like substance addiction, where if you have seen in alcohol addiction, what happens is, when a person is addicted, the dose of alcohol they are taking keeps on increasing gradually. In the same way, when you are addicted to internet in some or the other way, your time investment on that particular thing will keep on increasing. So previously, you might be spending only half an hour, then 1 hour, then 2 hours, and then you might be just completely occupied with that particular behavior throughout the day. So these are just the symptoms of digital addiction, which you have to keep in mind, and you have to look around. If you see someone doing something like that, then it's a red sign. So this is how it affects psychology of children when they are addicted, because brain changes in addiction, even in this addiction, are completely identical to substance addiction.
That was really intense, Dr. Kruti. But as they say, every coin has other side also. So any pros or any positive aspect of this impact of cyber world on the psychology of a child?
Definitely, there are a lot of pros related to technology. It's many people, going online and interacting with people, they start gaining confidence. When interacting with family, friends online on video calls, their relationships are enriched. Because previously, when people used to go abroad, there was only phone call which they used to make, and which was also very expensive. And they used to call like once a month or twice a month, maybe. And then obviously the relationship, then the bonding obviously is not as strong as when they are here. But because of the video calls and because of the technology, we can be in touch with our family, spouses, and relatives even when they are far. For children, there are also some fantastic educational apps which they can use. And it's kind of a self-learning thing where they can just go online and learn on themselves. Then there are also some apps and games which enhance their digital literacy skills and make them ready for the future. There are also some apps and games which will increase their hand-eye coordination. And so there are also video games and apps which actually challenge them and make them more logical. So they actually increase their logical reasoning. So in this way, there are a lot of pros related to technology. But along with that, we cannot completely, avoid seeing the side effects or the negative effects of that.
Absolutely. And hence the next question, that logging out completely is impossible because we all are working on laptops all the time. So how do we deal with the pros and cons in a most effective manner?
We are surrounded by technology and we live in a digital world. So going off technology is not the way. This is why digital addiction is very different from other behavioral addiction and other substance addiction also. Because when we are treated for other behavioral addictions or substance addiction, we are told to go off that substance or off that behavior completely. But when we are talking about digital addiction, we cannot tell people to go completely off screens, or they cannot stop using technology. So balancing is the key. When there are three steps. First step is knowing digital vegetables and digital candies, I say. So these are the terms I read in a book called Glow Kids. I was really, pleased with these terms, because it becomes very simple to tell your children or tell your teenagers to, understand about this concept of healthier usage and unhealthy usage of technology. So digital vegetables are using technology for educational purpose, for work purpose, for research purpose, for reading books online, or recreating music, creating music, and watching some sports, and getting involved in some sports. So all these things, when we are using technology for our benefits, comes under digital vegetables. Digital candies are mindlessly using social media, mindlessly surfing on YouTube, then watching pornography, gambling, online shopping for hours and hours. So these are the usage which are unhealthier usage. So what we have to do is, first we have to teach our children what are the healthier usage and unhealthy usage through these terms or through these examples. And then second point is, there is a concept where in impulse control we teach children in a form of traffic signal. So this is a second point where we tell them to red light in the traffic signal, yellow light and green light. So red light indicates pause or stop, Yellow represents reflect or be aware, and then green is act upon it. So you just have to make them understand that you have to pause and be aware about your screen usage. What are you using for? Are you using for a healthier purpose or for unhealthier purpose? For how long are you using? So they can actually make a screen recall for a week, where they can actually write down throughout the day for how long are they using a particular digital platform. They also have to write triggers. So for example, triggers can be emotional triggers, it can be, you know, physical triggers, where a smallest example of trigger is a notification tone. When, you know, we whenever we hear a notification tone, we are tempted to take our phone in hand and we have to see what notification was it. So notification can act as a trigger. Just like that, some emotional triggers are also there. When some people are emotionally low, they tend to go on online more. After identifying this, you have to act upon it, the green light of the signal, where what they have to do is they have to start reducing their screen time gradually. So if your child's screen time is 5 hours, you cannot expect them to, you know, from next day it should decrease to 1 hour. You have to help them decrease it gradually. So from 5 hours for a week, they can, you know, use it for 4 hours and 3 hours and 2 hours and then 1 hour. You have to I don't say that you have to go completely off entertainment through technology, but then there should be some limit you should set and you should follow. So a very important thing is replacing that particular time with some other habits. So for example, if your child was using screen for 5 hours, and if you gradually are decreasing that screen time, but if you are not giving them something in return to replace it with, it will not work. So there are chances of relapse then. So what you have to do is every time you decrease an hour, you have to also replace that older habit with some new habit of doing some art activity, following some hobby, or, you know, writing, or going to gym, or doing some physical exercises or yoga. There are multiple things which you can do, but then you have to replace those habits. So this was the traffic signal thing, where you have to pause, be aware about your habits, and then replace it with some new habits. Third thing is, as a family, you have to do something so that your child feels supported, and then your child feels inclusive. Because what happens is, I have seen that, you know, parents are too dominant, and they once they come to know ki, okay, my child might be addicted, or my child is using phone or screens for longer time, they constantly nag the child, don't use this, don't use this, don't do this, don't do that. If you do that, your child will rebel. You have to sit with them, you have to communicate with them, you have to also speak with them about dangers which they can face online. I think Leena had done a wonderful video. And then you have to set some family rules, where not only the child, but you also have to follow some rules, where you also don't use phones or digital platforms for longer. When as a family people are more aware and more conscious about their screen usage, it really works. Only if you follow something, your child will follow, because children always learn by imitation. First, you have to be what you want them to be. Okay, so only then this will work.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kruti, for this eye-opening session. If you find this video helpful, do share it with your fellow parents. And for more such informative videos, don't forget to subscribe to GenX Parenting right away. Thank you so much.